Hey y'all, it's Mary Hyatt, and I am so excited that you are here for today's episode. This is a little bonus episode that was going to tide you over until February when we jump back into our monthly topics and our regular weekly schedule. I've been taking a little bit of time off for the holidays, and I had to tell you, my part-time co-host Lindsley Brooks and I are so excited to hop into fresh content with you next month. So stay connected to me over on Instagram at Mary G. Hyatt, where I will be announcing our first topic of the 2020 new year. But for now, let's jump into today's bonus topic.
Welcome to the Living Fully Alive podcast with Mary Hyatt, here to help you find your authentic voice, learn how to love yourself, and embrace your life. And now, your host, life and mindset coach, body love advocate, and doTERRA Presidential Diamond, Mary Hyatt.
Hey y'all. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to be hanging out with you again. It has been a few weeks since I have done a podcast episode, which was very intentional. I needed a break, which was just the perfect timing to do it given the holidays and the new year. Kind of that winter hibernation vibe to slow down and just reflect, to be at ease, to rest. And it has been really nice. But I have missed you guys, and I am excited for a conversation today that is inspired by a conversation I literally just had with a coaching one-on-one client. And I think it's really appropriate for this time of the year. So if you are maybe listening to this later, the time of this recording is just about towards the end of January. And this tends to be a month where a lot of people are focused in on their bodies, creating new routines. A lot of times there's New Year's resolutions around the body of losing weight or deciding to start up a new exercise routine. And y'all know how I feel about all that. I'm like, oh, hell no. We got a lot of diet mentality talk going on, and it's causing a lot of body shame. I don't know. It's probably the part of New Year's resolutions and goal setting that I dislike the most, but we'll save that for another conversation. You guys know I have my Babe Redefined course over on maryhyatt.com. So check that out if you want to get more into learning how to love your body without dieting and learning how to trust your body. Check that 6-week course out. But I was having a conversation with this client, and one of the things that she wanted to focus on was this resistance she was having to exercising. Now, let me just say that even though I am very anti-diet and anti-diet mentality and really truly believe that you can be healthy at any size, I am a avid believer in moving your body. When I think about what allows you to be fully alive and to be kind of operating at a place of all cylinders, it includes movement. However, I think that the way that we converse about moving our body and exercise is really limiting and very harmful and oftentimes incredibly abusive. So I wasn't surprised that this client was having some of this resistance show up, especially this time of year, as there's just a lot of guilt and shame rolling around on social media. I mean, I can't even tell you how many exercise, 6 weeks to a better body, or, 21 days for amazing killer abs and ass. There's just a lot coming at us from all different angles on shifting and shaping and changing our body so that it is better and thinner and more attractive. And it really poses a psychological issue of a lot of anxiety, a lot of shaming, body shaming going on. It's enacting our body bully like never before. So I shared with her kind of a new paradigm of thinking about moving our bodies. And I wanted to share that with you today because I think that it is relevant for anyone who is trying and working at living fully alive is this embodiment piece, this body piece. And it's, we're just going to talk about movement today because there's so many different elements of the body that we could get into. And I think it's important to think about movement. So let's kind of start with thinking about the resistance. So the idea here is that we need to create an exercise routine. We need to get to the gym 3 to 5 times a week. We need to burn a specific amount of calories. We need to make sure that we are sweating, carving out the time to do it, making sure we have the appropriate workout attire. We've got the sports bra. We've got our Lululemon pants. We've got our Nike tennis shoes. And to me, that is a very masculine way of approaching moving our body. Regimented, routine, ritual, checking off all the boxes, adding it to our to-do list. And so much of what I teach and what I stand for is this embracing of our feminine energy. And it's no surprise to me that when we think about exercising as a form of a to-do list or even a punishment, like, oh my gosh, I ate this chocolate cake last night and I got to go burn off these calories, or I've been really bad and I need to go be good at the gym. It's almost like we think of exercise as paying penance for our bad behavior. It's like, going to confession and then the priest is like, all right, do 5 Hail Marys and 3 Our Fathers, and then you'll be atoned and you'll be good. And it's almost like we see exercise that way. And so it's no surprise that creates a resistance, a shutting down, a heaviness, an avoidance, certainly a judgment. And so when I think about that, certainly when I hear a client say, okay, I want to do this, I'm having this resistance, I'm having this show up where I'm feeling lazy, I'm feeling like I don't have good self-control, I'm feeling like I just can't get myself to go to the gym. What's the problem? Why am I not doing it? And I know it's good for me. I know I should be doing it. I feel better when I do it, but I'm not carving out the time. Like I'm making everything else in my life a priority and I'm not doing it. So what do I do? And to me, it's the way we're thinking about it. It really does go back to mindset. So I want to invite you to think about this concept of moving your body as feminine. So if the old paradigm is masculine, rules, doesn't count unless I'm getting this in. I have to sweat. I have to go this distance. I have to burn these calories. If we just remove that for a second and say, okay, that is our cultural norm. That's a very masculine diet mentality informed way of looking at it. And if we look at it from just sort of a primal stance, first and foremost, I think the best example, and this is kind of silly, but the best example I can think of is let's, for a moment, look at dogs. Okay. Let's look at dogs. Okay. For a second, think about what a dog does. So if a dog has been lying down and resting all day, what is the first thing that it does when it gets up? It stretches. It does down dog, goes into the yoga position of down dog. It moves its body. It shakes its butt. It puts its arms down, raises its butt up in the air, and it stretches before it goes on a walk. And if I think about a dog like in its natural form that's not domesticated or isn't limited, if it's a dog that's roaming free, what is it doing all day? It's walking. It's moving. Or let's just look at like chimps, for example. Chimps are so playful and they move their body. They get their whole body. They beat their chest. They jump up and down. They are doing flips. They're swinging from branch to branch. Like if we think of ourselves as primal beings, we were made to move, and we weren't made to move in a way that is like in a clinician kind of setting. I don't even know if that's the right way to say it, but it's like we move because our bodies were created to move and because they feel good to move. And then you kind of fast forward and you look at tribal cultures, and a key element to a healthy whole person is moving the body, is dance. Gabrielle Roth, she says, in many shamanic societies, if you came to a medicine person complaining of being disheartened, dispirited, or depressed, they would ask you one of four questions. Question one is, when did you stop dancing? Second, when did you stop singing? Third, when did you stop being enchanted by stories? And fourth, when did you stop finding comfort in the sweet territory of silence? And I just love that so much because it speaks to the first question, when did you stop dancing? And the way I like to think of that is, when did you stop being embodied? When did you disassociate from your body? When did you stop moving? When did you stop celebrating life in the movement of your body? And I think that we have created this weird association with exercise in relationship to punishment, that we have so many rules that keep us in a contracted, constricted kind of association with moving our bodies. And when I think about this from a place of femininity, tribally, primally, moving our bodies in order to celebrate life, to be alive, it's like movement is a form of celebration. Hey y'all, I just wanted to interrupt this episode real quick to remind you to subscribe to this podcast. I know that emails get lost in your spam folder, so subscribing means my episodes come right to your phone. So go ahead, hit that quick little subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of the Living Fully Alive episodes. Plus, in addition to subscribing to the podcast, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I don't know if you know this, but I have been releasing guided meditations every Monday over on YouTube, and you're not going to hear them here. So if you've been wanting to start an easy meditation practice, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on my short 15-minute guided meditations. All right, now back to this week's episode. Our bodies were meant to move. And when I started this journey, and those of you that know some of my deeper journey, I was at a place where I was really sick with autoimmune stuff. I was 240 pounds. I was in a lot of physical pain on all kinds of pain medication and sleeping medication, and literally was taking a pill for everything. And I had stopped moving my body. It was years of not moving. I mean, other than, kind of the day-to-day, like getting in and out of a car or grocery shopping or whatever, I had become so small and disassociated from my body. Like I was disconnected from her on such a deep level. And part of my journey of learning how to become fully alive is to get back into my body, because as we know, and we talked about this several months ago on the podcast, how our body stores emotions, and when we stuff down how we feel, it gets stored in the tissues of our bodies, and our whole meridian channel and flow and system gets stuck and stagnant, and that comes out in all kinds of weird ways. And to me, freedom starts with feeling free in our body, where we can move our bodies. And so I want to introduce you to a concept that I teach a lot, which is called micromovement. So it's kind of the idea of like when you're doing any kind of healing work or on this journey of self-discovery, it is small baby steps. Like it is not about making these huge, massive, crazy leaps. Oftentimes, the change and the shift happens in those small incremental baby steps. So micro movement, if you're in a place where you feel really just in a place of resistance to exercise, I want to give you permission to just set that off to the side. Taking that off of a should list of working out, even a day a week or 3 times a week or 5 times a week, just kind of like setting that off to the side for a moment. And giving yourself permission to Not have that as part of a goal list, to not have that as something that needs to be on your to-do list, but that you embrace a concept called micro movements. Now, a micro movement is learning how to honor your body's asking of movement in a really small way. And so what that looks like is oftentimes I hear my clients say that they want to move, but because they feel like they've got to, change their clothes, put their shoes on, create the time, know exactly what they're going to do to work out or have a membership or all these different obstacles, they don't do it. And micro movement means, like, in this moment right now, what I want you to do, unless you're driving, stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Even if you're standing or sitting or whatever, just stretch them up just for a minute. Just stretch all the fingers wide, stretch. And then shake the whole body out. So shake the arms out, shake the wrists out, the shoulders, the arms, shake. We're going to do that again. Inhaling all the way up. Inhale, reach, stretch wide. Exhale, shake out the arms. Now that is a micro movement. That is something that you just did that's very small, but you moved your body. You got into your body. Or for example, let's say that you are working at your desk for a long period of time and your body is asking to move. All that you need to do is stand up. Maybe you do some neck circles, starting in one direction and then going into another direction. Maybe you lean your body over to one side, stretch out your arm, lean over, and then swap and lean over to the other side, stretching out the other side of the body. These are micro movements. Micro movements there's no agenda. It's not seeking a result. It is simply honoring that the body is asking for movement and you're saying yes in a way that is small and really easy. And what I love about this is that you start to connect with movement in a new way. That it doesn't have to be this giant big thing, but the goal is, again, to celebrate your body and the fact that from a primal standpoint, it was created to move. And so it takes it out of this realm of exercise and into a realm of movement. And movement, femininity wise, to me is such a celebration. Like, it's like, yes. Like, if you think about just for a minute, like different cultures where they're dancing and they're shaking and they're moving, it's like that is a celebration of life. We are a body. We have a body, and to celebrate our body. Another thing that I do as part of my micro movement is in the shower, I will shake and like move my body. So I'll put my hands on my stomach. And while I'm in the shower and having that water run down my back, I just like use my hands to move my belly up and down in a rapid movement, like shake. Hands are going up and down. I put my hands on my butt, on my thighs, shake. On my arm, shake. And it's sort of like, yes, getting it out, moving. I'm getting into my body. I'm allowing it to move. I'm allowing it to shake. And something gets like unlocked when we do this in these little micro ways. Again, it's not like a to-do list. It is embracing the movement and the reality that we have this body that is so beautiful that it's like, I want to move. But in our brain, when we go, I hate to move, we're not going to move. But what we hate are all the rules, are all the conditions that we put upon it that make it something that feels large and big, requires a lot of effort. And so in this way, what I want to think about when I think about movement, I want you to think about this being a celebration of life, a celebration of your body, of your femininity, a way for you to engage in pleasure, a way for you to feel more free, and to enter into a state of flow. So, for example, a great way to kind of enter into this now is by resourcing a past experience in your history where this has happened, where you've been able to move your body in a way that felt free and wasn't in the traditional exercise confines. So think about a time, maybe you were on vacation and maybe you were hiking. This could be decades ago, it doesn't have to be even recent, but think about a time, maybe you were hiking and you were going to see a waterfall. And maybe you were able to go down this trail and you found yourself walking faster than you normally would in your day-to-day life. Maybe you were able to walk a distance that almost kind of shocked you. Then you're like, oh my God, we walked like 3 miles just then. That was amazing. Or maybe in that walk, you were so focused on the beauty of the nature and the energy that you were feeling, and just the air on your face, and the fact that you felt strong, and you just kind of went with it, and you didn't, track your calories. You weren't tracking your distance. You weren't paying attention to maybe even like how high up you were, or that the fact that the trail was really narrow, but the fact that you just were like alive. You felt amazing. And you get to the destination, you get to where you're going, and you see this waterfall, and you're like, oh my God, that was so amazing. That was so worth it. And you just feel like you are on a high. Or, maybe there was a moment where you were in New York, for example, and maybe or Chicago or some big city, and you have to walk because, to get around, this is part of what you do. And you get back and you're like, holy cow, like I did like 10,000 steps today. And it felt effortless because you were stopping, you were pausing, you were snacking, you were eating, maybe you were shopping, maybe you stopped in a park, maybe you sat on a bench and you kept going. Maybe you went into a gallery or something like that. And it just was like just a fabulous, enjoyable day, but you were moving your body. Thinking about those moments when you've moved your body in a way that felt almost effortless, that was in this state of flow. That is what is possible. And when we give ourselves permission to not have to make this something that we have to do, we should do, and it must look like XYZ, but we can redefine the experience of moving our bodies to something that is fun and enjoyable. That is, again, it can be something that is so tiny and small, like that micro movement, stretching our hands up, rolling around circles of our head, doing a stretch, bending over and touching our toes, stretching our calves, all these little ways. It's like, how can we invite ourselves back into our bodies, little by little by little by little? It's like being the dog, exploring, observing, allowing ourselves to enter into the state of flow that just feels good, like what feels free in your body. And so my encouragement to you, if you're finding yourself in this state of resistance towards exercise, to just put that over to the side and invite yourself into micro movement. That you explore what this is. You get curious about what feels good in your body. Maybe you start to think about things that would feel more feminine in your body. Swaying your hips. Maybe it's, in the evening, finding a room where nobody else can bother you and putting on some music, closing the door, and literally giving yourself 10 minutes, 15 minutes of just moving your body in a way that has no agenda, that isn't about anything other than you just moving. A lot of times I'll do that and I'll just, kind of start on all fours, maybe on a yoga mat, for example, and move into cat-cow, moving my spine in that C curve, beginning to move my hips in like a figure 8 motion. And all of a sudden, I start to unlock these parts of my body that have just been asking to move, that want to feel free, where nobody is watching me, or again, there's no agenda, there's not a time limit on it. There's not this need to perform, but that I could just be in my body, just move. And that consistent practice of embodiment, of moving our bodies is amazing. I can't wait to hear y'all like chime in and send me stories of how this has impacted other areas of your life and how this unlocks different areas of your life just by getting free in your body, especially if we have been trained and brought up in families where it wasn't either safe to move our bodies, or maybe it was we were conditioned to see that as a bad thing or a negative thing. I know that for me, in my body growing up, in the culture that I was raised in, we didn't move our bodies. I went to a really conservative church. We didn't dance. We didn't raise our hands. I went to a conservative Christian school. We didn't have school dances. I didn't learn how to be in my body. This is something that I've had to come back to as an adult, to invite myself into exploring something for the very first time. So it can be done. And it is so freeing to go from a place of feeling locked in your body to feeling like it has to be a should, to having all this judgment of heaviness and avoidance and self-sabotage, to this place where you can freely move and celebrate your whole self, your whole body, in ways that are small and doable. So that is my encouragement to you. This is obviously a short, quick episode, but I think it's just so important to come back to this micro movement, changing out the language, setting aside the agenda of exercise and punishment and all of that, and asking myself, how do I want to move today? How can I say yes when my body is asking to move that doesn't feel overwhelming, that's just a few seconds even, of stretching, of shaking, of moving, and allowing yourself to do that. So I can't wait to see how you embrace this and embody this even more. I can't wait. Send me an email. Let me know. Shoot me a message on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. But that is just a couple little ideas and thoughts around moving in this new year. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your week. And until next time, just remember that the purpose of life is to be grateful, to be great, and to be full. I'll see y'all soon. Bye. Hey y'all, thanks so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you got some amazing nuggets to take home and start implementing into your life. And if you're looking for the show notes and links, head on over to maryhyatt.com/show. And if you loved it, why not bring your girlfriends along this journey of becoming fully alive with you? Just give a quick share of this episode to your social channels and enjoy those debriefing convos with your besties. Thanks again, and I can't wait to connect with you next week.